Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to LinkedIn Heroes live at Race Party. Make some noise! We're joined by Sam Mutimer, who's the founder of Thinktank Social. Sam, welcome to LinkedIn Heroes.
Thank you. Absolute privilege to be one of your first guests, mate.
Start off, would you mind sharing how you got into business, how you started Thinktank Social? By all means, go back to, you know, the rugby days and...
Oh, them days. Thanks, Nathaniel. So yeah, I've never seen myself as a business person. I've loved people, I love education. At a really early age, I wanted to be a PE teacher. I just wanted to get kids involved in sport because I knew that you feel really good when you participate and you grow. Yeah, and for me, I love sport, and so I wanted to be the best I could be. I'm highly competitive, I love attention, and I managed to get into rugby, which was quite a good time back then. I think it was in early 2000 where, you know, women's rugby was emerging. They were spending some good coin in the UK to be able to amplify it, and yeah, I took a love to it because it was challenging, it was competitive, it was team oriented. You could be resilient within it as well, and yeah, made my way up to England. Within 3 years, got to play for my country, which was incredible back then. Much harder now. But yeah, from there, I used to always watch Neighbours. You guys don't really watch that, do you? No. Yeah, we did. We love it. And I fell in love with a guy called Dr. Carl Kennedy. And I was like, put myself into, I actually was a secondary school PE teacher's background as well. So I put myself into probably one of the hardest schools in London, and kind of felt that I didn't really want to work around, you know, guns and knives and crazy kids and parents. So I stuck at it for 4 years and then came over here for Dr. Carl Kennedy. And I met him. So we did the Neighbours tour and fell in love with Australia, the opportunity, the people. They were smiling, they weren't looking down, everyone was saying good day. I was like, I'm going to make my life here, which I did, and did a bit of teaching over here, and put myself in a life coaching course, did some NLP to basically understand how people can communicate better and how I could be a better communicator as well as a teacher. Went back home from, like, I'd been here 2 years, went back home, played a game of rugby. Back in 2008, it's probably the best thing I could have ever done. I remember getting on the pitch and I felt like I was playing for England again. I was playing for Burnham on Crouch. Go Google that. It's probably one of the smallest villages in the UK. But anyway, I got on the pitch for the first 5 minutes. I had the ball in my hand. I was running towards the try line. I'm like, yeah, I've totally got this. Going to score a try, and some girl came in and she slide tackled me, and literally I broke my leg in two, which at the time kind of hurt, but I had a few snake bite and blacks. Google that as well. Which numbed the pain for 24 hours, but in the morning I was like, I really need to go to hospital. And when I got there, they basically said, you're going to have a cast from your hip to your toe. You won't be going back to Australia. You're stuck in England. Imagine this, March, UK, gets dark at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, grey, raining, you come from Australia, sun, happiness. So I thought, okay, had the cast on my hip to my toe, what can I do about it? I'd heard of social media back in 2008, I was on Twitter. I don't know how I found out about Twitter, but I liked it. It was about people and it was networking, and I found it fun, and I liked exploring and building up new networks, and I'd heard of YouTube. And I remember one night I invited my mate over and we had a few gin and tonics, as you do. And I went, mate, what can I do with this? Like, broken leg, I can't run around anymore, and it's really frustrating me. And she said, oh, why don't you use social media to do something? And we came up with the idea that we wanted businesses to bid for advertising space on my broken leg. And the top 4 we put on there. And let's see how we go, right? So we pretty much did that. I did a really poor YouTube video and I cringe when I look at it right now.
So today, as you can see, I've broken my leg, not purposely for this video document.
Now on YouTube, but I'll keep it up because of the story. Like, oh, it's awful. I look older than what I am now as well, I think. But anyway, stress. Yeah, so we did that, and we wanted business to bid on it, put it out onto YouTube, and then I thought, all right, well, it's hosted on YouTube, but how do I actually get it out to people? And back then, obviously it's changed now with Twitter, going a little bit that way. People were on Twitter, it was easy to get cut through. So I looked at people that had a bigger audience than what I did. And I said, hey mate, can you share this if it's going to add value to your community? And the BBC managed to get hold of it, and a whole bunch of other people. And to cut a long story short, I woke up in the morning, I had 27,000 views on YouTube channel with a really poor video, and about 6,000 Twitter followers. I was like, hashtag winning. What can I do with this? Came back here, and pretty much Channel 7 News had found out about it somehow through social. They asked me to be their social media resident, where I can speak for 3 seconds on online privacy is pretty much dead, and they'd use it. And then I thought, I'm going to leverage that, and created myself as a social media consultant back in 2008, where no one was doing that, really. So full power, and then from there I thought, I love this, I love the people, I love the education, I love helping people get what they want, I like the creativity, and I turned it into an agency, and yeah, we grew over time. Our first client was Richmond Football Club, where we developed a Facebook app and sold merchandise. Wow. So I had to find developers and stuff, and it was a risk. I wasn't paying myself at the time either, and kind of looked at the bank account and thought, how can I survive? That's when I met you mate, over a few beers. But then I just turned it around, and because when you love what you do, right, and you're passionate, you just like find a way, make it happen. And over time, just created a team basically to serve brands, to help them to market themselves more effectively on social. And over the last couple of years, then started to focus on personal brands, athletes, CEOs, founders, by giving them strategic advice to help themselves to grow and ultimately to bring more awareness to the company and sell stuff.
Wow.
In a nutshell. Thanks for listening. That's the fastest I've ever spoken. That's your best year by Sam Mutimer, coming live from Hawthorne. The race party.
Okay, so I love that story for a few reasons. One is, I've always believed that many a good business idea does come about after a few gin and tonics.
Us?
Yeah, that's true.
Let me get this straight. So you got brands to bid for advertising space on your cars. So what was the highest bidder?
So we actually made 3,500-ish English pounds. So it was breakdown of, you know what, it was so long ago and I really need to know my stats around it. But there was like money coming in here and there. But ultimately, yeah, I hooked up with a guy called Darren from the BBC at the time, and he just pimped it out for me. And I think that's when I lucked in. Like the others were just, they came off the back of it.
That's awesome. So,
as you do.
Since you started Thinktank Social, you must have encountered some challenges along the way.
Check out the bags. Yes, I have. Many.
I love it when I ask entrepreneurs this question. They're like, yeah. Maybe just pick one and share with us how you overcame it.
Okay, probably my major challenge back then was actually hiring the right people. I'm the type of person that goes off energy, and I'm like, oh yeah, you sound great and you're a right laugh. Come and join us. Come and join the family. And what I found was a lot of the time that people would actually talk it, but they couldn't walk it. And I got very let down because I kind of thought everyone would be like me, really excitable, and obviously they wouldn't because it's not their own business. What I found from that was the fact that from bringing these people on board and not really being a visionary or setting culture and where we're heading, the agency kind of turned into a bit quite cancerous and toxic, and with a few people that were disgruntled that wanted a pay rise, and I was like, we're looking at your billable hours, what are you bringing in? I can't justify it. Oh, hang on, you just bought a BMW, so I deserve a pay rise. Those types of people, and I'm like, that's for a tax thing. But anyway, moving on. So that was probably one of my biggest challenges, and I actually was like talking to other people that had run successful companies, and they said, you need to set a vision, your culture, you need to put them through a rigorous recruitment process and challenge them to certain tasks to ensure that they can walk their talk. And over time we did. And there's a saying that I learned from one of my mentors, would you rather be a king or a maker of kings? And I used to always want to be a king. And then I turned into a maker of kings. And so I invested a lot more time into those people to understand exactly what they want, how can the company help them, how can we bring in things that are going to help them not just within their work, but also within their lifestyle. And as I started to implement that, and it took a while, we started to flourish and grow again. So we had these highs of, yeah, social media, go to Thinktank, and we had some good revenue coming in, but then I went away and had a baby. We had really poor staff, which I didn't train properly, so that's down to me. I nearly lost the agency, and I actually came to a point in my life where I just had little Maxie. It was about 5 days, and I'd had a Caesar, 5 days old, and my accountant called me up and he said, Sam, you need to get back into work, otherwise your company is going under. And I was like, okay. Looking at Maxie going, 5 days old, what a bad mum. But then ultimately I was like, well, he's not going to remember right now, and this is going to pay private school fees. So I kind of my husband at the time, bless him, looked after him, and I went back and hustled and just put it out there, and we turned it around. And then we found great staff, but it took time. And so when I talked to Tima about some of the mistakes and the podcast she's running, I'm like, I wish I listened to that, because I didn't. I thought I knew it all. I'm great at sales, I'm enthusiastic, I'm passionate. I didn't know how to run a business. So that's a bit of advice for anyone looking to make sure that you are well informed before you do it, because passion will definitely leave you in the long run, but it won't equip you for specific challenges if you're not aware they're going to come up. And I wasn't back then.
Sam, what's one of the number one success traits that you attribute to your success as an entrepreneur?
Pretty much, I don't want to come across egotistically, but I always think, why wouldn't you? Not with me, but with social. So I never go into a situation thinking I'm going to fail. I always go in like I'm going to win, and that's worked for me quite a lot. I'm passionate as well, so I'll always find a way to make it work in and listen and then deliver. But I honestly think it's probably my energy and my passion that leads me through. But then that's not sustainable in terms of leading a team to do what I do, which I found. But yeah, I'll always find a way. I lost an agency 2 years ago. Like I had two because I opened another one up and took investment money and then it didn't work out. And I literally was like, oh my God. And then I thought, no, I'll back myself. I'll find a way. And you just do, and you hustle on LinkedIn and you put yourself out there. You come to networking events, you listen to personal development, you read your books, and then you're back again. So yeah, just never give up.
Jeez, the amount of times I've got that answer on this show, I've got goosebumps now.
It's true.
Sam, what are you excited about in your business and for the future?
I'm excited about the people that we get to work with. I'm excited about the fact that social media is always changing. We're always learning new things. We're trying new things. I'm excited about the fact that you can always create something and then strive towards it. So to give you an example, we always used to focus on social media content development, like all the standard stuff an agency would, and then we looked at the books and we were like, hang on a minute, we're not actually even profitable in social media content development, we're profitable in education. And so last year we just went, well, why wouldn't we recreate ourselves? Let's focus on strategy, advisory, consultancy, training, upskilling. And so that's what we're doing now, and I'm excited because you can always change, and it's looking up where is the market, what are they doing? Kind of being a couple of steps ahead and then powering forward from there, because if you just keep doing what you're doing and it's not working anymore, then you're going to go under. And
this brings me to the most important question of the evening.
Oh, no, I don't.
I assume you're prepared for this one.
No. I even text people to go, what do you think about this question that's coming up?
If you could be a superhero, who would you be and why?
I still don't have an answer. I could relate it to a role model. Who could potentially be a superhero?
Well, there's another way we can do this, and that's if you could have a superpower, what would it be and why? We've just got to keep it above board.
Oh yeah, I'm from Essex, who knows where he's going with that one. I think my superpower would be, for me, like productivity, to be able to put things in an organised way, because I live in organised chaos, and be like really focused on clarity and being as productive as I can, like my team are, because at times as an entrepreneur, as you may know, Nathaniel, that doesn't come naturally. You just keep going. So that would be my superpower, just being more productive and efficient and effective with the time to give to the team and our clients.
There's not much I wouldn't do for that superpower.
Yeah.
Sam, thanks very much for joining us on LinkedIn Heroes. Can we all please have a round of applause for Sam?
Thank you.
So a special thank you to Noreen and Race Party for letting us host tonight. And we'll see you next week on LinkedIn Heroes.
Yes, mate.
That's a wrap.
Oh, that was a poor high five.